Yeah, this is certainly something that I've been thinking about for years. Rick and I have talked about for a number of years. You're always trying to, when you get to this point in your career, and you've done as much as we've done as a team, of trying to figure out when that right time to step away. I always said that I wanted to step away on my own terms if possible. And I want to be competitive out there, and I would hope that I could do that all the way through my final year. And so this is the right time. I think it really came clear about halfway through last season that it was definitely going to be. Rick kept talking me into going longer and longer and longer. I kept saying, no, I think this is the year. No, I think this is the year. And finally, about halfway through last year, I said, no, this is it, boss, and we agreed, and the timing was good for me, good for Hendrick, and other opportunities that are out in front of us. So looking forward to spending more time with my family, but most of all looking forward to just that next chapter in my life, working with Hendrick Motorsports and other partners.
And Mr. Hendrick, you've been with Jeff his entire NASCAR Sprint Cup Series career, spanning across 23 seasons. What are your thoughts on Jeff entering his final full-time season?
Well, it's going to be surely awkward and strange when I walk in the garage area and I don't see Jeff sitting in the 24 car. But at the same time, I'm looking at it like, man, that's a year away. So I want to go out and win the championship with him this year and have the kind of season we had last year. And I just thank him for all he's done to help our company and all the records he's broken. And I look forward to him, helping the company grow. And he's got so much talent in other areas that being a partner, he's going to be just a tremendous asset outside of the car. So it's bittersweet, but I'm just kind of putting off that that he's not going to be in the car, because he's going to be in the car for another year. But I think he said it all. He wanted to do it on his terms. He's just meant so much to me, the sport, the drivers. Young guys owe him so much. He broke a lot of barriers to help people get into the sport, and he's just been an icon in our sport. So I'm anxious to see the next chapter after we win the championship this year. Put a little pressure on him.
I like it.
Thank you. And we'll now go to our media for questions. In the interest of time, please limit yourself to one question. We will take as many questions as we can.
Thank you. The floor is now open for questions. If you have a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad at this time. If any time your question has been answered, you guys will move yourself to the queue by pressing 1. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad at this time. One moment while we pull for questions. And our first question is from Viv Bernstein of the New York Times.
Jeff, first of all, congratulations on your career. And this year as well. You had said that midway through last year, it kind of started in your mind that this may be what you want to do. Was it the back injury, and did your performance down the stretch make you waver at all in that decision?
No, I mean, I honestly, I thought this was going to happen a couple of years ago, and during the off season, every off season I can think of over the last several years, Rick and I have talked about our future together, the future of motorsports, Hendrick Motorsports, and then and I'm so thankful to Rick to have that kind of relationship where we can talk honestly about things that are happening in the sport and with sponsors and the team and me personally and professionally, and so I've got such a great friend as well as partner here that we just would talk from time to time, and I really was leaning towards this at the beginning of 14, but it didn't get serious until midway of 14 that and it was a combination of things. It wasn't just one thing. It was the back thing played a role. I think that really more just confirmed things for me rather than anything else. And even the great stretch in the run that we had and how good we were last year confirmed things even more for me. I was like, you know what? This is all I could ask for, to be at this point in my career, 20 plus years into my career, and be that competitive week in and week out. I was almost ready to walk away right then, but I wanted to give one more year to my team, to Rick, the sponsors, the fans, my family, and myself. And it just seemed like the timing was right to do those things and start that next chapter. And the next chapter, you can't really start it until you really finalize that decision and then all of a sudden start to put the pieces together.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Claire. One moment. One moment while we pull for questions.
NASCAR without Jeff Gordon just leaves a huge void. How do you look at having achieved that place in the sport and your role in the sport as a leader after being that guy?
I don't know if I've ever really looked at myself in that way. I just go out there every week and try to perform at the highest level I can and be the best driver for my team that I can be. I've never really approached it as I'm a leader in the garage area or for the sport. I'm very appreciative and thankful of sometimes others looking at it that way, or the things that I've done have helped contribute to the sport's growth. And I look forward to the future growth of the sport. I mean, I feel like my experience behind the wheel, my experience of being partners with Rick and learning from him, that's going to help me continue to add to the sport in any way that I can. But there are a lot of talented drivers out there that really have the ability to keep the sport growing and transcending, and a lot of young drivers out there that are coming up as well that I think are extremely exciting for the fans in the sport.
And our next question is from Jeff Gluck of USA Today.
Yeah, this is for Rick. Rick, obviously, there's a lot of speculation now about Chase Elliott. Where does he fit into the plans given this announcement?
Well, we're just we're kind of looking at what's down the road a little bit later. Want to kind of focus on Jeff and what he's accomplished, and then we'll at a later time we'll kind of focus on who's going to be in the car.
Okay, and we'll go ahead and take our next question. One moment. And our next question is from Jim Utter. One moment while we connect Jim Utter. Jim, you're on the line?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, your question, sir.
Okay. Jeff, I just wanted to ask you, you've been around and seen numerous changes in NASCAR during your career, from safety initiatives to the tracks that it's raced to how the championship is determined. I just wondered, during the course of your career, what is the best thing that you seen NASCAR accomplish, and what is one thing maybe that you struggled with or didn't like or didn't have had difficulty adjusting to during your career?
Yeah, it's a great question, or questions. I think that the greatest thing I saw was in those mid to late 90s, the growth of the sport and how they were going to Indianapolis and going to Texas and moving all over the country, and then packaging the TV broadcasting partners along with that, and through that same time the fans and their avidness for the sport was growing further and further. The core was still in the Southeast, but you started seeing it be so recognizable beyond that and throughout the U.S. And I don't know, it seemed like just a lot of things were coming together at one time through those mid to late 90s. And so it was fun to be a part of that, and that incredible growth, and just going to the racetrack. And every weekend, grandstands are filled. They're putting new grandstands in. They'd fill those. They'd put more grandstands in. They'd fill those. It was very, very cool. For me, obviously the toughest thing is adjusting to the chase format. I'll never forget the day Brian France was telling me that that's what they were going to do. We were on a dock in Key West, and I told him that was not a very good idea. But I honestly, after that and how I've experienced it the last couple of years, especially the last year, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great for the fans. I think it's great for the sport. I think it really brings a lot of excitement to it. It really bums me out. I haven't won one under this format. We've been close, but haven't won it. And I'm using that as motivation, in this final season for the championship, to go out there and get it done. I thought we had a chance at doing it last year, and boy, I would love to get into that same position that we were in this past year, do that again this year, with running for the championship at Homestead.
Thank you, Jeff.
Our next question is from Marty Smith of ESPN.
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Rick. Congratulations to both of you. Obviously, transcending career. It's crazy that we're having this conversation, man.
Yeah.
I know. I agree. Don't be getting me all emotional.
Yeah.
Now.
Don't make him cry.
I know how hard it is when you're asked the legacy question. So I don't know what I'm expecting to get from you here, but I was asked today, what is your legacy? And it's such a multifaceted answer. It's damn hard to answer. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want fans to remember about your career?
I think that and maybe we've seen a little bit more of it over the last 5 years, but just how passionate I am about what I do, how much it means to me. I probably, a lot of people don't know the insides. You got to go to the crew chiefs and the teams. Maybe somebody like Rick that's there, to see what kind of effort gets put into that to win that many races and championships, and how you blend yourself in with different personalities and teams. But I love driving race cars. Ever since I was a kid. That's what I wanted to do, was be a race car driver, and I hoped that it would get to this level, but I didn't know that was going to happen. So I think if anything, it's about seeing a kid's dream come true, in real life, in front of thousands, if not millions of people.
Thank you.
And our next question from Bob Pockris of Sporting News.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm curious. You didn't use the word retirement in your statement, and with the way NASCAR's rules are as far as ownership and driving, it looks pretty difficult to see you in a car after next year, if it's not, unless something were to happen to a Hendrick driver or something like that. Can you just not mentally use that word, or do you really think there's a chance you could be in a Cup car at some point after 2015?
Well, the way I see myself in the world is that retirement means you go off to a beach somewhere, or sit in a rocking chair on the front porch and drink your coffee and pet your dog, and that's not me. I plan on working. I'm going to be working. I'm actually going to have to get a real job now. So when I think of retirement, I just don't think that that's what I'm doing. I want to leave myself open as well to be able to get in a car. It doesn't have to be a Cup car, It could be a nationwide car. It could be a truck. It could be a prototype for Le Mans or the Rolex. It might not be any of those things. Heck, I was just out in the desert driving buggies and kind of made me want to do the Baja 1000. I don't plan on doing any racing, but I know I'm not going to be retiring because I have a lot on my plate already that we have plans for and we'll be talking about in the future. But I'm excited about that. I really am.
Thank you.
And our next question is from Michael Knight of the Arizona Republic.
Jeff, congratulations on all your accomplishments, both on and off the track. I know you have a lot of respect for Rick Mears, and this morning I reviewed the notes of a conversation I had with Rick after he retired in December of 1992. And what he told me is that when he realized that when he got up in the morning and was not looking forward to go to the track or getting in the car, he knew that he had to stop. Does that translate at all to what you're feeling now? And also, should fans make their decisions on buying tickets to races this year on the basis that it'll be the last time they'll have a chance to see you race?
Well, I think the chances are pretty good that Homestead will be the last race that you see me in. But again, I don't know that for a fact. But I know that I'm not going to come back and do a part-time schedule. I love being competitive. I love racing for wins. It's not the thrill of the speed or just being at the track that I enjoy. Actually, I'm a lot of people that are close to me probably think quite the opposite. I take it too serious sometimes. I'm not really there to have fun unless that means you're getting a trophy at the end of the weekend. So, there's no doubt over the last couple of years I have been faced with those thoughts like Rick Mears was talking about, and I had times when I wasn't having fun leaving the racetrack or showing up to the racetrack. Things weren't going well, but last year changed that for me. It did. It built my confidence up, and I felt like I was as good as anybody out there, or as good as I've ever even been, and that's because of Alan Gustafson, this team, and I feel like that we're going to be able to continue that momentum in 2015. I look forward to that very much. So, nothing would make me happier than signing off in this amazing career that I've had at Homestead, and knowing that I went out. Of course, you want to go out on top, but even so, if that's not possible, I want to go out being competitive and going out there and putting on great racing at the top level. All the way to the end, and that's all I asked for, and last year gave me that inspiration that can happen again this year.
Is today a happy or a sad day for you?
Today is an emotional day, and I had to tell my daughter this morning when I was explaining to her that I was going to be telling the team and people this and talking about it, and she saw me get very emotional when I was telling her. And I saw a look that I'd never seen in her eye before, where she'd never seen me like that, and I had to explain to her, because most kids see, when tears are flowing, it's sadness, and it wasn't for me. It was pride. I'm just very proud of what I've done, what I've accomplished. What goals were set early in my career or as a young kid, and how I've been able to get this far. And yeah, I'm a little sad that there's going to be a day where I step out of the car and it'll be the last time. But I knew that day is going to come at some time, and I think this is the right time. But I'm more proud and excited of what I've done, and as well as what the future holds.
Thank you. Congratulations, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take Nate Ryan of NBCSports.com.
Yeah, Jeff, kind of following up on the why and how, obviously it sounds like you've always been an image-conscious person, and I know you want to leave the fans with the right image after I know you've seen some veterans maybe hang around too long. I guess what happens, though, if 2015 isn't as good as 2014, and did that play into your decision at all in to stay in next year when it sounded like you were close to maybe hanging it up after 14?
Yeah, I mean, it was never planned to end after 14. I mean, I made the joke about winning the championship and riding off into the sun, but that would, even if we'd won the championship, that wouldn't have happened. 15. Because I'm partners with Rick, I know how the business end of it works, and I knew that as competitive as I was, I wasn't quite ready, and as well that there were business commitments that I told him I'd fulfill, and I plan to. To me, yeah, it's possible we won't have a great year. Right now, I feel really good about it because the way we ran in 14. But if we don't, it's still a heck of a career. I'm going to try to go out and enjoy myself more than I normally do. Normally I just take it so darn serious that sometimes, no matter how we run, good or bad, it's not. I don't always enjoy it to the fullest. I want to enjoy this season to the fullest. I want my family around me, being a part of it, enjoying it. I'm looking forward to going to the track and smiling and lots of reminiscing and enjoying the people and friendships that I've made over the years, as well as getting the most out of that race car with my team. And I hope all those things can come together. One of the things that we are planning on doing, and one of my big focus with Alan on this decision was, I want my focus to be on driving that race car to the best of my ability, and I don't think that you can do that and try to have this retirement or sign off type of festivities every weekend. So my plan is that I'll be back at the track in 2016. Doing all kinds of things with the fans. I'm certainly going to be there with Hendrick Motorsports and the team, and that I'll be a major fixture at the track quite a bit in 2016, and I look forward to that. Really giving interaction to those fans that have been so loyal to me over the years that I think they want me to be competitive out there when I'm on the track. That means a lot to them. I found that out through Twitter, especially. But I want to do that. The only way I can do that is to really be focused on all the things that it takes with the team, the meetings and the debrief and going over all the data and just really your mind being there. So that's a decision we made that goes beyond 15 and part of our plans.
Our next question is from Tom Jensen of the Sports.com.
Hi, Jeff. Congratulations. What is one thing in your career you're most proud of?
Goodness. I mean, I'd say, a couple of things. I feel like I have always done my best to be, humble and appreciative and give my best to the team. The team is not me. It's a group of people, and that if I want to be successful, that I got to show them that I'm no more important or less important than anybody else on the team. And I'm certainly proud of some of the big wins that we've accomplished as a team and championships, as well as the work that I've done with the Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation. I mean, that's also something that's going to go on for many years, and something that I haven't been able to spend as much time with that I really love doing, spending time with those families and those kids and raising more dollars for a great charity. And so I'm very proud of what we've done, but I also, a lot of times I have regrets that I don't spend more time with it, and I want to spend more time with it, and this hopefully will allow me to do that.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Tom.
We're going to take George Diaz of the Lando Sentinel. George, you on the line? Okay. Next, we'll go ahead and take Brant James of USA Today Sports.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Who did you confide in when you were making this decision, I guess, in the final days? And who did you tell first besides after your family?
Well, I mean, I think most of my conversations were between Rick Hendrick and my stepfather, John Bickford. He's the one that got me into racing. and who I owe so much to. He's been there from the beginning, and all the way up till now. And Rick Hendrick, I mean, for the last, 20, I guess we're going to have our 23rd season together, has been far more than just a car owner to me. He's somebody that I trust, someone that has been there for me through a lot of things, not just on the racetrack, but off. And, we're partners. And I'm so thankful for that opportunity that he gave me, not just in 92 to drive his car, but when we decided to do a lifetime contract, that meant the world to me that he wanted me to be a part of Hendrick Motorsports in that way, beyond just a driver. And so I owe him a lot. And so obviously my first conversations were to him. I threw around the idea with my wife Ingrid and my stepdad John, but most of the conversations, when they got real, we had to really work out the details of when it could happen or how it could happen, was with Rick.
Great, thank you.
And our next question is from Mike Soliteri of Time Warner Cable News. Mike, you're on the line.
Yes, I am. Congratulations, Jeff. This is a question for both you and Mr. H. Dovetailing off what Marty Smith asked you about legacy, not necessarily legacy, but how do you, Jeff, want to be remembered as a driver and a competitor? And Mr. H, how do you want fans to remember a guy you've got so much belief and trust and so many miles in with what you guys have gone through over 2 decades plus?
Go ahead, boss.
Okay. Well, I think the fans will remember Jeff as that young guy that came into the sport that changed the sport. I mean, until he showed up and got in a cup car at a young age, no one had ever done that. And then to go out and win the championship in his 3rd year was amazing. And then to be so competitive and dominate the sport there. And then today and this past year, what he was able to do, leading the points and be such a factor in the chase. But I think more than that, they're going to remember the way he's given back to the whether it's the Foundation for Kids or Make-A-Wish or just the professionalism that he has shown, whether it's Regis and Kelly or Saturday Night Live or the Cover of Fortune, that really that brought NASCAR to the forefront. And I think all those things are going to be important. Truly one of the greatest drivers that's ever been in the sport, but a guy that has done so much to help other people. I mean, how many of the drivers that are here today would never have had the opportunity if Jeff Gordon didn't blaze a trail at such a young age from a different series? So you got the wins, the championships, the philanthropy, just a role model and spokesman for the sport. I mean, I think I've always said he's got the whole package, and he will leave his mark beyond the driving years too. So he's a special guy, and I think the fans are going to appreciate everything he's done on and off the track.
I mean, I guess from my standpoint, I definitely am proud of those things that I've done on and off the track. But I guess I get a little bit simple, when I think of things like this. I think of who my heroes were when I was growing up. A.J. Foyt, Rick Mears, Al Unser, Steve Kinzer, Doug Wolfgang. I grew up in an open wheel arena. Where I grew up in California, it was all about sprint car racing and the Indy 500. It wasn't until much later that I started watching NASCAR. And so what drew me to those legends and those guys and their legacy was how many races they won. and I love the fact that those guys won 4 Indianapolis 500s and championships, and that they were great race car drivers. And quite simply, I'll be happy if people recognize me as a great race car driver, because that's all I ever wanted to be.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And next we'll take Paul Woody of Richmond Time-Dispatch.
Yes, Jeff, you mentioned this a moment ago about the Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation. Can you talk a little bit more about what your success on the track has enabled you to do off the track with your foundation, with the Clinton Global Initiative, with your work in Africa?
Yeah, it's given incredible opportunity, and it kind of, I mean, I remember the first time I went to a hospital. I was in Winston-Salem, a children's hospital, and met a family and a child that was battling cancer the first time, and I didn't know how to react. I didn't know why I was there or how I could help, but when I left there, I knew that I wanted to do more and find a way to help, and more than just, maybe give an autograph or take a picture. And so it was not long after that Ray Evernham's son was diagnosed with leukemia. We started a program together called Racing for a Reason. Shortly after that, Mr. Hendrick was also diagnosed with leukemia. So, in 1999, I formed the Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation, and we started primarily doing work with Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, pediatric cancer, and that grew into doing research with some of the top hospitals in the country, like Riley Hospital for Children, Levine here in Indianapolis, in Charlotte, and Children's National in D.C., and working with the Children's Oncology Group, and then that led to other opportunities like working with the Clinton Global Initiative and taking things abroad to other countries. So it's been amazing. It's given me something also to be very proud of beyond just driving the race car, but also I know that there's so much more that needs to be done for pediatric cancer, and that I want to be a part of in the future.